Hello and welcome to your collective reading. This is going to just be a collective message. Take what resonates, release what doesn't. Next week I will have the readings coming up for the new moon in the sign of Cancer. This message just feels to me like it feels like the transit from that full moon that we had in Capricorn through that very powerful energy of the ignition with Mars conjuncting Uranus. If you haven't watched that reading, definitely go check that out. It is a good reading. That was something that I believe that conjunction was exact on July 3rd. So if you had a lot of things really get ignited or something start during that time, something very interesting to be looking at. So again, take what resonates, release what doesn't. I'm pulling one card, first of all, just for some guidance for this reading, and this is from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck, so we'll take a look at what energy wants to show up. Divine timing. You know I love to see this card, and I can feel that, right? Because with, I don't know if this card fits. Oh, yeah, it does. Um, I do feel like this is very significant right now because, like I said, when in that other reading, again, you can go back and watch that. It was Mars clashing with Uranus in the sign of Gemini, and I felt like this was a very big catalyst. We got trust at the bottom of the deck. So I do feel like it's going to be important to trust the process and see where these things fall out. And I do feel like that catalyst, that clash, that conjunction was about bringing like this boom of clarity, truth, aha moments, like information coming out of nowhere. That sort of energy is what I felt was going to be ignited. And again, I do feel like this is still playing out as that was happening. We were moving into some square energy, which are challenges to overcome. I have been seeing a lot of fives lately. Let me know how, if you've been seeing a specific number, leave me a comment. But fives are all about change, right? It's about change, um, a catalyst to change. So I feel like this is something that is still playing out. Like I said, I feel this energy. This is kind of like the in between that last full moon, that conjunction, the square that we're in right now, and moving into the new moon in Cancer, which in that's where Mercury is retrograde right now. And that talks about our foundation, our home, our family, maternal and energies, that sort of thing. So big, powerful energy playing out right now. First card that's showing up is the Nine of Swords. I will be clarifying these. I like to put them like this. I just don't want to get them too close to this candle. Not a good thing, right? Um, and so we see the Nine of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Queen of Cups. Trust in your intuition. This can be mother energy as well. The Nine of Swords talks, this looks like a very, let me pull this card up here. You can see there's almost like somebody in the background, right? Watching, hovering. I'm feeling it's not a pleasant energy. I feel like it's a toxic energy. I feel like there can be feeling a lot of restriction or feeling overwhelmed, maybe within the mind, the thoughts, your ideas, that sort of thing in regards to something. This could be, that energy where information has come in, like I said, that catalyst, right? Where this information has come in and now processing that can feel extremely overwhelming. Next card, and this popped right up, is the Knight of Wands energy. So very interesting to see that. See the bottom of the deck, Three of Pentacles. So the Knight of Wands energy is a pretty, this is the fastest, well, the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords are the quickest moving knights in the deck. So this can talk about somebody wanting to take quick action. This can also talk about somebody taking action too quick. I'm kind of feeling it's one of two situations. So again, this is a collective reading. You take what resonates, release what doesn't. In one stance of this, I kind of feel like maybe there was an action that somebody is feeling very burdened down by, like they're really struggling in the mindset as a result of an action maybe that was taken too quickly. In another sense, I'm feeling somebody is looking to take action quickly, but may feel very burdened down in the mind about the direction, the action. I did see the Three of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So threes talk about growth, expansion, moving forward, right? Collaborating, working on the same page, having a cohesive energy, right? Working together, that sort of thing. Something that is solid, something that is stable. I feel the need to say on a high vibrational level. So again, take what resonates, release what doesn't. Let's see what other energies want to come out for this line. So it does feel like quite an intense line already. I'm feeling, though, really drawn to that divine timing, because it could have been, this was meant to happen. It's, time for this to happen, because maybe it's played out, it's been going on too long, or it's been, something has happened for too long. Next card that comes out is the Four of Wands, and it came out with the Seven of Swords. Very interesting energy. Let's look at the bottom of the deck. Ten of Wands. Ooh, okay. So right away, what I'm feeling with this is, again, I feel strongly there is going to be somebody who resonates with taking action too quickly and got them caught up in a situation. Nine of Swords and the Seven of Swords are bookending this reading, with the center of it being somebody moving too quickly, taking action into something. I mean, the Four of Wands typically talks about a celebration of a home, a commitment, a marriage, a job opportunity, something that is long lasting typically, right? But you can see it's surrounded, like on both sides of this are them swords energy. And the Seven of Swords, like, this is like feeling trapped in the mind, right? This is feeling very burdened down in the head space, that sort of thing. The Seven of Swords often talks about, like, some sort of a deception, like sneaky behavior, information being left out, or, just doing something in the dark, trying to get away with something. But ultimately, at the bottom of the deck is that Ten of Wands. So whatever this feels like to me, it feels to me like it was something that wasn't in alignment. And again, the divine timing is here. And I do feel we are in, I think there's a square taking place right now with Saturn, which is all about timing. It's all about karma. And I think it's somehow in cahoots with that Pluto, which is in Aquarius right now. So those two together are going to bring, like, if it's not meant to be, if it's not meant into alignment, like, this could be the divine timing where, I don't see the tower, but I can feel that tower, where it's just going to break this down, right? It'll expose things so that you can see clearly, so there's no more running and hiding from truth, from reality, that sort of energy. But let's start clarifying some of these cards. We're going to start by clarifying this Nine of Swords. Let's see what this Nine of Swords has. What is this Nine of Swords speaking of? What is this Nine of Swords? I feel like somebody's watching somebody. I do feel that, like, trying to figure out what they're thinking, where their mind is at, that sort of thing. Something gives me the energy, though, where I feel the vibe that somebody is keeping it hidden. They're keeping this under wraps. Like, they're not expressing it. They're not showing any signs. Like, this could be an energy of really hard to read. Wow. Nine of Swords to the Ten of Swords. Because ultimately, wow, they want victory is at the bottom of the deck. They want recognition. They want achievement. And it's interesting, the Nine of Swords to the Ten of Swords, right? Because I feel the reason they're hiding it and being very cautious is because they know somebody will sabotage it. Well, if you look at this Ten of Swords, all those swords coming at this person, not one of them touched this person. So this is somebody who is not going to be pinned down, taken out, and destroyed through this sabotage. That I can see right away. This is somebody who I feel like they've woke up. They see something clearly. They're going towards a victory and success. Again, I do feel a shadowy energy, though, watching, lurking, creeping, that sort of energy. So take what resonates, release what doesn't. Let's pull one more card for that Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords. What is the next energy that wants to come out and clarify this Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords? One more card for the Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords. One more card. Oops. Well, I guess we're going to take two. Wow. There is the Page of Cups and there is the Strength card. So the pages often talk, I mean, this can be about an apology. This can also be a fresh start in an emotional sense, in an emotional way, whether it be in their own heart space, their own soul space, within their own feelings, their emotions. But you can see with the Strength card, they are going to have to stand in their power, have the strength, courage, and confidence to, we'll see where this goes, but I feel like take action. Bottom of the deck, Wheel of Fortune. Very interesting, because when I was meditating before I started this and reading, I already knew from the planets that are playing out, it's like the wheel always brings change, right? And I do feel like we are upon that change. And sometimes we're at the bottom of the wheel, right, where we're going through some challenges, experiences, some stuff. And then other times we're at the top of the wheel. But the one thing that is guaranteed is that that wheel will always turn, and it will bring change. I'm feeling a divine timing is at play here. So again, where I feel like somebody who, like I feel someone has been blocked from their wheel turning in a favorable way. Queen of Pentacles is underneath that with the Nine of Wands underneath that. So this could have been in a connection. I'm kind of getting that vibe that that's what it is, but it doesn't have to be like a relationship connected, although I do feel in some instances it's going to be. But it also can be in about a work environment, because we did see that Three of Pentacles as well, where this could be, you know, where somebody's putting in all their time, energy, and effort into something and it's draining them. They're not coming through with, you know, that feeling, that vibe of feeling accomplished or proud or satisfied in what their work is or what they're achieving. All right, so I'm going to clarify the Knight of Wands, and three cards fell right on the table. There's the Magician, the Three of Swords, a lot of sword energy, and again, there is a lot of that happen. That's not surprising to me, right? And then the Three of Pentacles is showing up again. Someone is trying to manifest their way to something that's going to grow, that's going to be stable, that's going to bring expansion. We have the Six of Cups on the bottom of the deck. I feel like this is about reminiscing, looking back at the past, maybe before. I feel this is about an energy that got caught up in a karmic cycle. And I feel like the timing is now to break that cycle. Like, this is what I'm feeling. Although I do feel there is this energy of them being, like, monitored, like, watched, or, you know, listened to. Like, people are listening to what they're saying, trying to find hints or, you know, some sort of you know, what is this person up to sort of energy. There is a heartbreak that's in the center of all of this, so this could be where this movement, this whatever this is, could bring heartbreak to somebody. I'm kind of feeling like this is somebody who, like, they're saving themselves from the heartbreak, from the burdens, from the baggage, from the deceptive energy, from that manipulation, right? They want to manifest something that grows, expands, that sort of thing. So let's take a look and clarify this Four of Wands. Give us some energy and show us about this Four of Wands. What is this Four of Wands? What is this Four of Wands? Oops, too many cards. All right, Four of Wands. All right. Four of Wands is the Moon card. I did feel this was something that was playing out between moon cycles. This is representing Cancer. It can also talk about, you know, I feel Pisces energy somehow associated with this when it comes to intuition. Yeah, I feel like this could even be where you're keeping something hidden, right? And I feel like during the moon cycles, it just very strongly feels to me between that full moon that we had in Capricorn, and if you haven't listened to your individual reading on that, they are listed. You know, go to the collections and you can look up your sign and get the full moon reading from that Capricorn reading. then you can go and watch that reading with that collision or that conjunction of Mars, when Mars, the planet of action, right, went in conjunct with Uranus, which is ultimately that catalyst for radical shifts and radical changes. Something has transpired between them points and is going to continue to play out up until we get to this new moon in the sign of Cancer. What I see at the bottom of the deck is that Two of Wands, which is talking about choices and decisions in a path and along a path. And I feel like in the past there was a loss, a disappointment, something five of there's that five I was talking about at the beginning. There was some sort of loss, sadness, disappointment in something. I feel like, it just gives me that vibe of that was maybe the catalyst to getting caught up in a situation, or maybe that was, I don't know, it just feels like that loss, that sadness, that regret, right, kind of got someone caught up, right? They were in a lower vibrational energy, ultimately ended up in a karmic cycle is how I'm feeling with all of this. One more card for this Four of Wands. There was something hidden, like if this was a celebration, a job opportunity, or where it was supposed to be kicking it up, and this is like the lifelong dream. There was something that was hidden about it. There was information that was left out. There was something sneaky and deceptive that was ultimately at play behind the scenes, and I don't feel like it's behind the scenes anymore. It feels like there's been this wake-up call of recognizing, there's no denying somebody being burdened, weighed down, the truth coming out, clarity being seen, that sort of energy. One more card for this Four of Wands, and this card flew out, and look, it came out the King of Swords in reverse. Ooh, that is, ooh, up right at the bottom of the deck is an Emperor. All right. Underneath that was the Two of Pentacles to the High Priestess. So with the King of Swords in reverse, this is a vicious, malicious, deceptive energy. That energy is one that, like, I'm going to win at all costs. I will lie, cheat, steal. I will, it's that sort of energy. It will destroy anything it gets its hands on in order to get what it wants, right? It's just that energy. And there was something that was hidden. And I feel like, again, it just gives me that vibe of somebody got caught up in a karmic cycle. They couldn't see the truth. They couldn't see the viciousness. They couldn't recognize the lies. Maybe, this can also be illusion, right? Where the illusion of what could be looks so good that they deceive themselves, right? The next card that did pop up was the Nine of Cups. And this is talking about somebody wanting a wish fulfillment, manifesting that wheel to turn in a favorable way, for stability, for security, for somebody standing in their power. The Emperor is a very powerful being. They take control. They don't allow, they don't allow this sort of energy right here. They don't allow trickery, manipulation, emotional, getting caught up in an emotional thing and let it take them down. Like, they don't do that. They're true leaders. They lead by example. Wow, there's the High Priestess who just popped out again. I feel like somebody ignored their intuition, and I feel, again, this could have been when I did see that Two of Wands, where there was a choice, a path, a decision. And ultimately, I can't blame anybody else, right? Because you cannot. Nobody can. We all have free will to make the choices and decisions that we make. And then ultimately, we recognize their lessons or their blessings. Which one is it? And this is like coming to terms and being real about a choice, a decision, a path that was taken, and, recognizing where maybe they didn't trust in their higher self and their intuition. Wow. This card flew across the room. I gotta grab it. Nine of Cups to the Ten of Cups. I feel like something looked like a wish come true, a wish fulfillment, and I don't feel like it ultimately was. Again, it's just coming across to me as somebody, took a leap of faith in a direction and thought it looked a certain way, only to discover later down the road when they're in that cycle that it was a karmic cycle. That was a deception. That, like, this could have been somebody who was really manipulated. Like, their mind was manipulated, their feelings were manipulated. Bottom of the deck is the Temperance card with the King of Cups, so that's really sweet to see. I do feel like balance is being restored in a situation. The Temperance Angel, that's Jupiter energy. We did see the Wheel of Fortune show up, and we also have Jupiter, which just entered the sign of Leo. So it's left, and that was the day after that Mars met up in conjunction with Uranus. Then the very next day, Jupiter went into the sign of Leo. So I want to talk about this Seven of Swords now to get some clarity on that. I feel like what I'm talking about is someone knows what needs to be done, what action they need to take. I do feel like they're keeping it on the down low, probably not telling anybody about it. Like, this gives me the feeling of somebody who's going to do it, and then you get to know about it. That's the energy. They're walking away from that Seven of Swords. And look, I said the second fastest moving one was the Knight of Swords, and there is the Knight of Swords. So this is talking about somebody moving away from something that's not emotionally fulfilling. It's not emotionally satisfying. It feels like very shallow. It just feels like it's not genuine, sincere feelings, emotions, or love. And again, this can be in regards to many different things. Like I said, friendships, partnerships. It can be in regards to career, job, that sort of thing. I feel like there's recognizing the deception, what was hidden, what they couldn't see before. And now that they can see it, there's no unseeing it, and now they're moving forward. They're moving away from that energy. So the next card to come out and clarify it is the Four of Wands. This is going to be a true celebration. They're being unblocked. There's a King of Wands right there, taking action and moving forward quite quickly with the Eight of Wands. They're no more investing time, energy, and effort into a situation is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like they're rejecting that offer. Like, I feel like this was something that was offered and it looked good, sounded good. Like, they just couldn't see what was hidden, what was underneath the surface, right? We've seen the moon out here as well. And they didn't trust their intuition. And I feel, unfortunately, from what I'm seeing right now, is that they got caught up in a karmic cycle. But I feel this karmic cycle, it's time. Divine timing is here. It's over. It's time to put this to rest. So I'm going to grab a couple messages. This is from the Magical Wisdom Oracle deck. Beautiful energy usually comes out of these cards. So I thought this would be, let me move this. I thought this would be a perfect deck to close this reading out with, because it does feel like the worst is over. It's just a matter of continuing to move forward, heal, release that residual toxic energy, cleanse yourself and your space and all of that stuff. And look at the first card that popped out, Illusion. This says, embrace the truth, and that's what I feel like happened. I feel like somebody was feeding, like they were invested into something that wasn't real. It was all an illusion. I kept picking that energy up. Like, it looked good because it was filled, it was like created through manipulation, through mental manipulation, emotional manipulation, however it was. And I feel like somebody, like, was a master manipulator, because the energy that we're in right now, the energy we're going to be dealing with, those master manipulators are going to be seeing some serious falls from grace. Their illusions won't work in the Aquarian age, so that's that. Next card that comes out is Face Your Fear. I do feel a lot of blue energy in this, so this could be about communicating something, also being stronger, like mastering your mind, not allowing it to run wild and get you all caught up in those situations. Will invite serendipity, more blue in here. I'm feeling there's a lot of magic and mystery and a lot of I just feel a lot of beautiful signs and synchronicities that will align, showing you, helping guide you along your path and along towards the way forward. I would say out of all of this that I'm seeing right now, the biggest and most important thing you could do once you release the tens or endings and it goes to the aces, which are new beginnings, is take the time between this ending and that new beginning, because that ending ultimately is the starting point of the new beginning. But you need to take the time to cleanse, clear, heal, process, that sort of thing. Don't just jump up and run and think you can go into something new, because you'll end up caught right back up in a karmic cycle. Sensuality is the next one. This is about being comfortable with who you are, being comfortable in your own skin. Like I said, gives me very strong energy of really taking the time to cleanse, clear, purify your energy, balance yourself out internally, externally, that sort of thing. And, that's how I'm feeling. So next card that comes up is Legends. So this is about possibly seeking wisdom. I'm saying possibly because typically when we see this card show up, it does talk about speaking with people or connecting with people who give you good advice, this, that, and the third thing, right? I am feeling, though, whoever I'm reading for, you may have took some ill advice, some advice in the past that kind of got you caught up in a mess you didn't really ultimately want to be in, or you had to really fight your way to get out of, is how I'm feeling. I'm kind of feeling also be mindful, right? Because sometimes you can be this wise person. I feel somebody didn't listen to their intuition. Archangel Raphael, healer of mind, body, and spirit, is on the bottom of the deck. So this could be where you could, just, have the conversations between you, your guides, your archangels, pray, call to God, ask for the guidance, the wisdom, the information that you're seeking. I do feel someone's going to be in a meditative state for a little while. I don't feel like this is going to be like, a week and I'm out of it. No, you have to sit with that energy, and sometimes there's a lot of people who can't sit still. They can't sit with just the energy like that. They cannot do it because like things will come up and they'll bother them and they want to just hurry up and find something to distract them so they don't have to think about that. Sitting with that energy, allowing that energy to flow through, process, play out, come up, clear, cleanse, purify that energy is the way through that healing process. Next card, competition. Bottom of the deck is 7 heavenly virtues. So there was something a little competitive, I kind of feel, that happened in the past. I feel like it's past energy. I don't feel like dwelling on it. I feel like somebody doesn't need me to be repetitively saying this over and over. They see a situation for what it was. They were manipulated, deceived, and even by their own self, right? Like, because again, we all have free will. We can't blame other people, but we can blame ourselves or take accountability for our role in this. We wanted to believe this, right? Because it made us feel good. But if it's a lie, it's a lie. And at some point, you're not going to feel good because it's not the truth. It's not real. Underneath this was confrontation. So, yeah, I kind of feel like this is, in that competition, confrontation, I feel like somebody's going to confront a situation, deal with it head on. I do feel they're moving past this. I feel the universe is supporting them in ending this cycle. It's time, divine timing, time for them to reject that karmic cycle, stand in their power to take action, to move forward. No more giving their energy to a bunch of takers. Look, and underneath that was a death card. Yeah, this cycle's done. It's over. So, again, I hope you take the time to rest, recharge, rejuvenate, heal yourself, feel your feelings, go through the process. It is not fun. It is not easy, but it is so worth it on the other side. I send you all peace, love, and light. And please, if this message resonated with you, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like this video. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee, that will be listed in the description box below. Have a great day.